Welcome back. I took a break and now I'm ready to read. Okay. Helpful questions. Can you say more about that? How does this make you feel? Can you tell us what's happening here? What do you need or want? What is it that bothers you most about this? What ideas do you have about this? What would you like to see happen? Is there anything else you'd like to talk about? What would you find helpful right now? What would you like me to understand about this situation? Is there anything you could do to make the situation better? I'm not quite clear about this. Could you help me get a better understanding? What could you do differently if this conflict happens again? Do you feel this conflict is resolved? How would you like to see this mediation end? Can you tell me more about that? What is the most important thing you want us to understand? What was the hardest thing about that? What do you need now? Rephrasing, reflecting. Rephrasing restates what you have heard the other person say to their satisfaction, even if you yourself feel differently or disagree with their actions. Check and reflect feelings. You have been listening for information and feelings. You have some clues. Check them out to keep your understanding on track and let the other person know you hear them. Restate what the other person has said. You will also be reflecting content, ideas, values, and beliefs, as well as feelings. You can't know if you have caught only a part of the speaker's message or caught it in full until you check it out. This will also give the speaker a chance to further develop their information and help build trust in the process. Unless you can show the speaker that you understand, you won't be communicating. Continue to use engaged body language. Communicate your concern with your posture, facial expressions, nodding your head, and encouraging responses such as, "I see," or "Go on," that keep channels open. Sample language. It sounded like you felt sad when he... ... So after the fight, when she went out to the door and slammed it, you thought she was never coming back, is that right? It sounds like you were shocked and hurt when Mr. Brown lopped off the last fruit-bearing limb of the dying plum tree your wife planted 48 years ago when you moved into the neighborhood. Summarizing. Summarizing a condensed understanding of the most important issues presented by the speaker. It can be used to transition to a new speaker, to interrupt the speaker, or to redirect the speaker. To restate what you've heard, including both emotional content and factual details. Make sure that you now understand the crucial issues and the summary is accurate and complete. Give the speaker room to give you feedback on your summary. Sample language. His car has blocked your drive several times in the last month, and when you speak to him about it, he gets angry with you. You are frustrated by his behavior, and you suspect he is doing it to spite you. Is there anything I have left out? More effective listening phrases. It is helpful to have one or two standard phrases to use when one first starts practicing the skill of effective listening. However, repetition of these phrases could be irritating to the other person and not sound genuine. Here are some additional phrases that can be used. When you feel sure of your perception of the situation, vary the comments with one of the following. You feel, from your point of view, it seems to you, from where you stand, as you see it, you think, you believe, what I hear you saying, I'm picking up that I really hear you saying that. Where you're coming from, you mean? When you may need some clarity of the situation, use, could it be that? I wonder if, is it possible that, from where I stand, this is what I think I hear you saying. You appear to be feeling. It appears perhaps you're feeling. I somehow sense that maybe you feel. Is there any chance that maybe you feel. Let me see if I understand you. Let me see if I'm with you. Activators. Activators are moments that cause an automatic emotional and physical response. They can range from mild, like when someone is passing through your peripheral vision, activating you to look up, to traumatic. When someone startling you activates a panic response based on previous life decisions. For the purposes of this work, we'll mostly be focusing on activators in the middle of that scale. Getting activated is different from being annoyed at something someone has said or done. It is a much more visceral reaction. It gets us at a gut level, and it is more challenging to just brush off or ignore it. Why do activators matter? Activators can make you feel angry, insulted, hurt, offended, dismissed, ignored, overlooked, and put down. These emotions can impact your perception of another person and how they deal with the conflict situation. They can also make it much more difficult to listen. By being aware of your activators, you can understand when your reactions are based on a preconceived idea or belief. Pause and ask for clarity. Activators produce such an intense emotional response that we are prevented from engaging in productive communication. The more we know about ourselves and what activates us, the better prepared we will be in being able to de-escalate during the conflict. How activators affect us. Different people react differently when they get activated. Some things that can happen include skin gets flushed, heart starts racing, demonstratively angry, shut down and mentally check out of the situation. Exercise. Identifying your own activators. Take 5 minutes and identify those behaviors, saying, attitudes, phrases, tones of voice, looks, and or positions that have activated you during a conflict situation. As you identify each one, try and figure out why that particular thing activated you. What earlier experiences are the root of it? What activated me during this conflict? Ooh, this one's a good one. I'm just going to go ahead and speak to one of the conflicts that I'm intrigued about solving. What activated me during this conflict? When I didn't want to talk to my mom, okay, maybe I have to identify a position, maybe. Okay, so that had activated me, where she would just be like, really? Instead of like listening to me, she would just say that, and I'm like supposed to say more, and it's like not even a full question, it's just like incredulence. Anyways, the memory that's at the root of that and why it bothered me is just like, if you're listening, it's not like a good like question, or it's just like you're not processing it, and it's not validating to hear. And so it's like not productive to say stuff like that. Okay. Let's just go with that for now. This is a very interesting exercise that I'm going to need to do more role-playing on, or whatever. I don't even know what to call it, where it's just an exercise where I'm thinking about activators. Page 22. Maybe review page 22 with the friend. Okay, moving on. Tips for managing activators. It is important to think about how you're going to care for yourself when you're activated during a mediation. Here are some things you can do. In the moment, recognize what is happening with the mind, thoughts, and body, emotions. Breathe. Deep breaths can help you stay calm. Remember your sphere of influence, what you can and cannot control. Take a drink of water. Fidget with an object. Count by threes to reactivate the executive function of the brain, or write down numbers, spelling out each one. Get really curious about the person that activated you. I'm curious. What did you mean when you said blank? Or, I'm curious when you did this. What was your intention? You want to get to the point where you can start to take steps to separate their action from their intention. Let others know you are activated. Sharing how you were being impacted can help others to help you. Take a break. Give yourself some time to regain your composure and then come back. Decide not to let this person have the power over you. Choose upon reflection to ignore the statement. Setting a boundary for the conversation. I won't continue this conversation unless if you choose to postpone dealing with the situation, let the other person know that it is important to you and establish a time to get together to work on it. Afterward, take a walk around the block. Talk to a friend. Engage in a pleasurable activity. Exercise. Get to the bottom of it. Understanding the origins of your activators can help shed new light on your relationships and empower you to take control and responsibility for your own reactions and behaviors when you feel activated. De-escalating conflict. Maybe there has been a question in the back of your mind. What if I run into somebody who is in a rage or shouting at me? The first thing to keep in mind is to quickly assess the situation, and if you feel you are in physical danger, remove yourself. However, you will often be involved in situations where people are feeling various levels of anger. How do you deal with someone who is extremely angry? Happily, you have already been practicing many of the skills which can quickly alleviate some of the pain which causes an angry person to express themselves so dramatically. The situation might actually be more helpful than it initially appears to you. At least the person is talking to you. The circumstances will challenge your skills because it's hard to think clearly and calmly in an intense moment. Although the angry person will probably not be practicing our effective communication models, you can. These models will help you have some insight into the angry person's feelings and needs. An angry person is someone who is in pain. Anger is a primal mobilizing force generated to defend against distress. Underneath the display are feelings of hurt, betrayal, loss, despair, fear, shame, or guilt. A person does not get extremely angry unless these feelings have been bottled up without an outlet. The intense anger becomes an issue in itself, creating challenges to a satisfactory resolution. When a person is in this state, you can give them the opportunity to meet the following needs. Needs of an angry person: to get attention. An angry person is feeling they must resort to dramatic measures in order to finally get someone to pay attention. Sometimes it's tempting to withdraw from an angry person, but your focused attention will begin to have a settling effect. Needs of an angry person: to let off steam. Gently open the vent on the lid of the pressure cooker by your willingness to be present and stand back so you don't get burned. By doing this, you might just be preventing an explosion and a bigger mess. Let the person talk, but do not take it personally. Do not try to counter their arguments or talk them out of their feelings. To get validation. Attention is a vital start, but it is not enough. The angry person needs to be understood and hear their right to their feelings affirmed. Let the speaker know you recognize and appreciate their feelings and predicament. Many people are uncomfortable with their own anger and deep down have the suspicion that something is wrong with them for being angry. This can make a person appear even more defensive. Your validation of the person's right to the anger can help that person accept it too. To feel empowered. An angry person often feels as if they have been treated unjustly and robbed of their own rights and power. This person might feel helpless, with no control. As you work with the person, seek to empower them. Listening effectively to an angry person. Maintain calm and patience. Work to maintain your equilibrium by letting go of your own anger and fears. Do not take the bait to fight. The speaker may make antagonistic and hostile remarks when flooded by intense emotion, but may sincerely regret them later, especially when they find out how empathetic and validating you are. Try to focus on the speaker's distress and not on verbally defending yourself. Patiently letting them meet their need to vent will have a calming effect on them too. Maintain respectful attention. This also will help diffuse the anger by meeting another need the speaker has. Show your attention with your body language and your responses, validating and asking for clarification as needed. Be authentic. We all know how irritating it is to feel as if we are being humored or patronized. Do not hide behind your good communication skills, even though you might be wanting to find the nearest cubbyhole to duck into. Concentrate on exercising the empathy which will allow you to be genuine in your responses. Continuing to communicate with an angry person. You may have noticed that you have used the skills you have already learned to begin to diffuse the angry situation. It is vital to follow through with a combination of effective listening and speaking skills to get at the heart of the problem and facilitate the person's ability to continue to cooperate toward a solution. Some useful questions to ask yourself and check out with the speaker are: what does the person need in this situation? How does the speaker perceive himself and you? What assumptions is the speaker making? What painful feelings are causing the anger? Continue to use empathize, ask, rephrase, and summarize ears scrupulously. Do not skip the successful speaking step of self-reflection. What am I feeling about the situation? What do I need? Have my own biases and defensiveness clouded my ability to see things clearly? What issues do I need to communicate to the other person? Now that things are calmer, are either of you showing signs that you do not have time to talk for another hour or two? Set a more convenient time or place. However, be sensitive to the possibility that this could shut down the interaction if one of you has the impression that they are being coerced into silence. Keep encouraging the other person that you are both working toward a win-win solution. Give the other person plenty of time to respond to you. Use statements that focus on specific behaviors and your own feelings to explain your perspective. Tips for de-escalating conflict, dealing with another's anger. This is important, and I'm probably going to want to get back to this page again later. Use empathy. Talk about the conflict in private. Remain calm and patient. Try to keep your voice at a normal speaking voice or lower. Or notice that some people prefer an energy match. Validate and give permission to have strong feelings. Take deep breaths. Maintain respectful attention. Avoid blaming them or shaming them. Use impact statements instead of assuming their intentions. Use the word we where there is joint responsibility for any conflict. Be honest about what you can do and what you cannot do. Give each other space, take a break, schedule a time to come back. Remember to use ears. Be authentic. Approaches to resolving conflicts. Interest-based approach to resolving conflicts. The goal of this approach is to move away from a person's stated positions and one-sided solutions and reframe the dispute in a way that addresses everyone's underlying needs and interests where possible. Definitions. Issues. General topics being discussed. Positions. Where you stand on the issue. Interests. Why your positions are important to you. What underlying needs are motivating you? Needs. Fundamental human qualities such as dignity, respect, connections to others, and safety, as well as basic requirements such as shelter, food, sleep, etc. If one can move from a position of place of interest, opportunities for resolving the issues expand. Yeah, so it's important to define all these things. Let's just keep going. I'm trying to process this, but they're going to get to it. Positions and interests. Positions. Your position is what you want in the dispute. Interests. Your interests are what caused you to take your position. They're the why that explains what underlies the position. Positions clash. Interests are shared. Usually people move from positions straight to solutions, but this doesn't often solve the problem and requires people to compromise. This is because it takes deeper examination to understand what is truly at the heart of a conflict. How do you discover another's interests? Ears, empathy, asking, restating, and soup. I gotta cheat. Hold on. What is it? Okay. Oh, hold on. Summarizing. Okay. Summarizing. Once the primary interests are determined, it is more likely that solutions can be generated that would fit the needs of both individuals' parties. When you arrive at a solution, you're more likely to have arrived at an agreement that feels like a win-win. Interests generally relate to fundamental human needs such as dignity, respect, safety, etc. Other things are found beneath the surface that connect parties are beliefs, values, experiences, feelings, and intentions. Deep-seated fears often drive behavior and conflict. So look at the fears below the iceberg. That can be effective to finding understanding. Other things that are found beneath the surface that can disconnect parties are perception, misperception of facts, assumptions, and suspicions. The role of mediator is to help everyone put their needs on the table. Oh my gosh, I'm excited about this.